Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, September the 6th, 2022. Tuesday, September the 6th, 2022. Well, Nell was back today. Nell was back, not from the grave like the rumors had it. Nell was back in people's dreams and people's hallucinations. Nell was back. Okay. Now, what happened was it started. Willow was having a dream, like just a horrible nightmare that she wakes up. Michael's not in the bed. She could hear Wiley down, kind of whimpering. So she goes downstairs, and there's Michael and Carly dead on the floor. And Nell, standing there, has Wiley, saying she was going to take Wiley away. And Willow's like, "What did you do to them?" And Nell's like, "I didn't do anything to them. You did." So Willow looks at her hands, and there's blood all on her hands as she's looking, and she's not knowing what is happening here. But then she says, "Say bye-bye." And he goes, "Bye-bye, mommy." And she jerks up from her dream, sits up in her bed, and she looks and Michael's not there. So she goes downstairs frantically, "Michael, Michael." And Michael was downstairs talking to Carly because Carly's getting ready to go away for her little conference. So she's like, tells them both the nightmare. And Carly says, "Boy, when I was pregnant, I had some really vivid dreams too. It's part of pregnancy." And Willow calmed herself down. And then she went back upstairs. Well, soon enough, Willow's coming downstairs with her purse. And Michael's like, "You're going somewhere?" And she goes, "I need to get some air. I just need to get some air." So he's like, "Well, look, I'll come with you." So she goes, "Somebody needs to stay with Wiley." And he goes, "Well, we could take him my mom could watch him, or we could take him to the main house." She goes, "You want to wake up our son to babysit me?" Because Cardi said, "I do need to get out of here soon." So Willow says, "No, I'm fine. You stay here." So Cardi says, "Good, because there's some things, Michael, that I want to go over with you." So Willow leaves, they sit down, and Michael's like, "Well, what is it?" And Carly says, "No, Willow really just needed some air. Just give her some space, give her some air." And Michael was like, "I just feel like there's something she's not telling me. There's something going on. She's not telling me." And he's 100% right about that, right? So, and now we're jumping. This is later at the night, because earlier Willow was at the Savoy, and I'm going to get to the Savoy a little bit later. But Willow decides she's going to Nell's grave. But Nina's already there. Nina put some flowers down, saying she's sorry she couldn't have gotten there sooner. But, she's here and she's talking about her. Things would have been so different. And all of a sudden, now who's at graveside with Nina? Nell. So she's talking and feeding into Nina's psyche, about how wonderful it would have been, had they known. Because Nina's like, "I didn't know. If I would have known, things would have been different." And Nell says, "Yeah, but you have done well. What you did in Nixon Falls was God's work." And so Nina's like, "Well, I was upset with Carly. She knew you were my daughter, and she didn't tell me. And she let you die. She let you fall." And she was almost saying, like, "Didn't she?" And then she says, "But she didn't tell me, even after. She didn't tell me you were my daughter. I had to claim your body later, and just she left you out there." And she's just going on and on. When Nina refuses to listen. Carly did not know. When Nell fell, Carly did not know that was Nina's daughter at all whatsoever. Carly did not put that together until months later. Back when Avery lost, remember Avery lost Avery found Nell's little half heart. And once Carly saw it, that's when she started trying to figure out, where did this come from? And what's the origin? And she and Jax, was Snoop detective, and they found out Nina had the other half, and the other half went to her daughter. That's how they found out. Nell was long gone, but Nina refuses to believe that because it's better in her mind to blame Carly for everything. And so Nell is talking to her saying, but yeah, had we known, we could have really punished them good. We could have led this path of destruction. Carly would have stayed in the mental hospital, forever. Michael never would have known who his son is. And she's just going on, and Nina's horrified, what? No, that's not what we do. And Nell is like, psh, please, you and I are alike. She goes, horrible things were done to us. Your mother put you in a coma, and whatever his name, Benson, Rob Benson, or whatever his name, Benson is, sold my kidney. That was our excuse for doing all the things that we have done. And Nina's like, but no, that's not the kind of what I wanted for you. And she's like, please face it. Yeah, you and I are alike. And it was kind of hitting Nina as she's listening to Nell just talk about the revenge and the things that she had done. And in her mind, she knows Nell was a horrible person. Okay. But if I could have raised you, how do you raise someone when you're in a coma for 20 years? She had that baby in the coma and stayed in that coma for 19 more years, possibly, 20. She was in the coma for over 20 years. How could she have raised Nell? How could it have been different? Nina will not see it. But it's funny, in tonight, when she was talking to Nell and dealing with her psychotic mind, because Nina will snap, you could see how on the edge she is. Just how on the edge she is. And blaming everybody else. The writers made Nina take over where Nell left off. Nina can't form a complete sentence without saying the word Carly. And neither could Nell. Neither could Nell. So she was just talking about, no, that's not what I wanted. She had her hands over her face, like, no, I want it better. And when she took her hands down, Willow was standing there. And Willow was like, I'm sorry, who were you talking to? And she goes, myself. And so she goes, are you going to see Jonah? And she was like, no, I came here to see Nell for Wiley's sake. I just thought I would show some respects, for my son. And then Nina started, oh, the son that you're erasing every memory of now, the son that you want to say horrible things about her, and so Willow's like, you know what? You just can't have a conversation without that. Nell was a horrible person who did horrible things. Horrible. But you refuse to see it. And then Nina decides to flip the switch. And Nina has done that to Willow a number of times. When Willow wouldn't go talk to Michael for her to let her see Wiley, oh, she's buttering up, please, can you? And when Willow wouldn't do it, then she would turn like a viperous snake to Willow, say mean things. So she turned it to Willow. You can't see behind your own self-righteousness. Anyone else, and the way she's yelling, almost like Sasha the day before, anyone else is pain, and you could see it in her eyes. And I'm thinking, girl, are you possessed or what? Good God, you having hallucinations about Nell, and her evil spirit came right on in you because Nina was scaring me the way her face was looking, right? So at that moment, Carly shows up. She heard what Willow said to Nina, and she could hear what Nina is going in on Willow. And Carly comes up and she steps and she says, "Oh no, that's enough, Nina. You're the one." And then Carly, because nobody can just cut Nina to the quick like Carly can. And she went in, she goes, "You know what kind? Nell was vile. She was this, she was a baby stealer. She, she used Willow's dead baby as a prop. Who does that? Who does that? And then so after Carly cut her to the quick, and she goes, "And we are all better off and safer because she is dead." And Willow just looks at her like, "Oh, ooh, that went a bit far." And Nina just looked like, "Oh, what? How dare you say that to me?" But yeah, Nina, when you were tearing into Willow, that was okay, right? Willow's pregnant, but you're going to tear into her like that. So Carly came in like the mama bear she is, and handled that business. Thank you, go Carly. But we shall see, because I don't recall if Carly and Willow truly walked away, because it kind of left Nina looking like Carly and Willow were gonna leave, but I don't know if they actually did. And if they haven't, tomorrow's gonna be more of a comeback. Nina's gonna say something else. We'll see. We'll see if it's over or not. I'm surprised Sunny hasn't walked in. What's happening here? What's going on? You okay, Nina? That's Sunny. So then the other good part of the show, yes, was Trina's party. We had quite a bit of action going on. TJ and Jordan were talking, and they said that, hey, Aunt Stella's on her way. And then they got to talking again about the Ancestry.com website, how they made that mistake, saying that she did have a relative right there in town. And TJ's like, "But I don't know. I really don't know that that's a mistake, because these are usually sophisticated. We just did not look into it once they found a relative of Aunt Stella's. We just left it alone." But he's like, "No, I think that still deserves to be looked into." And Jordan's kind of thinking. So Jordan, I don't know if she's really on a DNA case or not, because she was actually looking for Rory, because she said, "Oh, she wanted to discuss the case she saw Trina, and she said, 'Where's Rory?' And he goes, 'Oh, he's going to get us some water.'" And Jordan says, "Oh, because I want to just fill him in on a case, a DNA case." And so Trina's like, "Oh, well, look, he would love to talk to you about it. He loves talking about work." You know what? I think Jordan was making that up, because that was Jordan's in to saying to Trina, "Yeah, have you ever taken a DNA test?" And Trina says, "Yeah, in high school, for a high school project a couple years ago. She took a DNA test. It was a part of the project." And they submitted it, to one of those websites. So now Jordan is thinking, okay. So now we got Trina's tests, online. We've got Stella's. So Jordan is probably going to do some detective work with, the DNA. She's going to abuse her police powers a little bit to do some detective work to find out what's going on. But anyway, Aunt Stella makes her appearance, and oh, she's happy to see everybody. And she sees Jordan, and she sees the ring, and she's like, "What is this?" And oh, she's going on. And Jordan didn't do the squealing this time. She said, "Yeah, Jeff, we're going to tell you later," right? Portia, not Jordan. She sees the ring for Portia. And so Stella's happy for them genuinely, because she accepts Portia now. And Curtis comes over with Marshall, and he says, "Aunt Stella, we want you to officiate." She goes, I have never married anybody before. And they're like, look, you just go online and you take a little course, you fill out some paperwork, mail it all off and blah, blah, blah. So she's like, yeah. And so she goes, but I know there's some things you'll have to do. You'll have to go and apply for your marriage license, but you're going to need copies of your divorce papers for that. And then the flashback hit Stella. She remembered taking the papers off of Jordan's desk, putting them in her purse. She remembers trying to hand them to Cameron. And then she, started feeling shaky. And that's when they fell on the table. The coffee, I knew something messed up the papers. The coffee spilled all on them. And she hit the ground and Cameron was trying to help her. And the busboy threw all this stuff away. But she remembered, but she didn't say anything. So she tells Curtis, well, you're going to need to look into that. You're going to need to make sure, that you have them. Because Curtis is like, you know what? Come to think of it, I never got my copies of the divorce papers. So he goes over to Jordan and he asks her, Jordan, did you get your copy of the divorce papers? She goes, I remember signing them and mailing them. And I'm thinking, no, Jordan, you didn't mail them. You left them on the little stack of mail for the mail department to come and take that mail to mail it for you, but you didn't physically take those papers anywhere to mail them. But she doesn't remember. And she goes, but remember, I was away for quite some time when she was rehabbing from when she inhaled all that gas. Remember, she was gone off the show for probably 5 months, 6 months. And she says, a lot of mail backed up during that period. I'll double check. I'll take a look because I don't remember seeing our final copies, but I will take a look. So now it's finally going to come out that Curtis and Jordan's divorce was never filed. Never. So that's going to put a halt because now they got to have those papers redrawn up, re-signed, and then mailed, and then whatever the waiting period is there in Port Charles, we shall see. But earlier, we deal with Sonny, and Curtis is upset at Sonny, and Sonny's like, wait a minute. Curtis is like, yeah, it's one-sided. When you don't want to, you made your stance clear to me that only when I have something you want, but when I need something, it's not a two-way thing. And he's like, Curtis, I mean, can't we just work this out? I mean, there's no reason for us to just, not be able to work this out. So Marshall's ears picked up. Is there a problem over there? And he comes over, Mr. Corinthos, with all due respect. And I'm thinking, when did they decide to change Marshall's position where Sonny is concerned? Because remember when Marshall first came, it's like Marshall had some kind of personal vendetta against Sonny. He was all off in Sonny's face. There was something that they've decided to go into a different direction on, because he goes, this is a private party. This is for Trina. We need you to leave. And Sonny's like, I'm just trying to talk to Curtis. I'm not going nowhere. And he goes, but rightfully so, but my nephew, my son has said he's done talking to you. So that's it. And Sonny's standing there like, no, it ain't it. But he wasn't belligerent. He's just looking like Curtis is grown. We're having a grown conversation. And the funny thing is Taggart told Jordan, or Portia, they'll be fine. Curtis and Sonny will work it out. And Portia's like, are you sure? And he goes, 95%. But either way, they'll work it out, right? So Curtis looks over and sees Ms. Wu saunter in to the private party. It's like, talk about out of place. She comes in like she owns the place, because in her mind, she does, right? So Nina comes over and says, Sonny, let me talk to you for a minute. So she takes Sonny over to the side, and I guess that's when Nina was telling Sonny that she was getting ready to go to Nell's grave. And Sonny wasn't gonna join her there because Sonny, how Sonny feels about Nell. So Sonny still just stays there. Now, mind you, he knows he's not wanted. Nina leaves, Sonny's still there. And he goes, Cassandra, or Miss Wu, whatever he calls her, interesting seeing you here. And she's like, yes, I came to, share my congratulations with the family on the outcome of Trina Robinson's trial. And she goes, come, where's Miss Reeves? He goes, oh, Miss Reeves is gone. She's not with me. Oh, so you and I are alone. Let's have a drink together. And he's like, well, why? To discuss business. He goes, oh, really? We have some business to discuss, right? And she goes, there's always business to discuss. So he's kind of looking at her, and she's saying, what did she tell him? Something about glad he came to their establishment. She made it known that she and Curtis are in business together, period. And she's talking about that Savoy as our place. And Sonny's just looking at her like, oh, really? But he's not saying anything because he knows when he didn't get what he wanted from Sonny, he went to Wu. Curtis did. So Sonny's thinking, well, you know what? You made your bed, Curtis. You're going to lie in it, right? So Sonny ends up telling her, well, you know what? I am going to leave, and I really think you should leave too, because this is a family event. So she ends up leaving with Sonny, or walking out the same time. Sonny walks out. But that just struck me as interesting. Okay, Sonny does know that she is doing business out of the Savoy, but he does not know that now she's trying to run product through the Savoy. He doesn't know that. And one thing Marshall said, because Marshall's so busy saying, look, you don't want to get involved with a man like Sonny Corinthos, because they would love to get their hooks in an establishment like yours. And once they get their hooks in an establishment, it's hard to get them out. And so while Marshall was telling him that, he goes, you don't have to worry about me and Sonny. As Curtis is glancing at Selena Wu, like, she's the one you got to worry about. You just don't know, because that woman has all hooks in Curtis, right? Every which way but loose. Curtis is Pinocchio for her. He's just that wooden puppet going on for Selena for whatever she wants him to do. So, and then Spencer and Trina, they're bickering about the note, and she's like, it has my name on it, so that means it's for me. And he goes, but I decided not to give it to you. She says, but I have it now. So then she says, look, let's go. So she takes him up the stairs and down the stairs as if, they were going to leave. They were talking on like the outer corridor. And she goes, okay, since you don't want, she goes, tell me what's in it. And he goes, I've changed my mind. That is my property. Give it to me. And she's like, possession is 9/10 of the law. I have it. It has my name on it. I'm not, matter of fact, I'm going to open it. So she starts to, and he goes, Trina, no. Okay, I will tell you. So he tells her, that what he put in the letter, which actually he did. He told her that, that he should have told Esme, but he didn't put all this in the letter, right off. He says, I should have told Esme about my feelings for you from the very beginning. And I should have this and I should have that. And we wouldn't be in this mess. And Trina says, you know what? Life would have been much easier had you done that. Yes, it would have been. He says, and I understand that we can't be friends, but we were friends, and your friendship meant the way. So he was heartfelt about it. And Trina said, it's just that, she was starting to actually crack a bit, because he was getting ready to leave. And she was like, Spencer. And that just then Rory steps up onto the platform saying, is everything okay out here? And then Spencer just looks and he says, yeah, he leaves. And Trina's just looking like she knew she was caving. She knew she was going to say, I still do consider you a friend, because they did not uh, part in bad terms. They really didn't. And it was almost implied that they still are friends. They're just not going, they don't have the relationship they used to have. And so Rory says, everything's okay. She goes, no, everything is fine, you know. And she says, let's go back in. It's my party. Let's go back in. And so she goes back in with Rory. And her father's like, everything okay, baby girl? Because, you look like you were a little intense. And she goes, no, it is. I just had to get some things straight with Spencer. I had to let him know we can't be friends anymore, and this, that, and he goes, good, it's for the best, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Trina is very contradictory because she knows how she feels about Spencer. But then they had another cute scene where Cameron and his band, they played a little rock song, and they, entertained the crowd. They're at Savoy. So Cameron got to sing and do his thing, and everybody was dancing and have a good time. So that pretty much was the daily recap for General Hospital. Let's go to comment corners. I do have some comments. Patricia said she loved the review and laughed out loud when I said Jocelyn didn't look at Dex and said hello. No, that's when they kind of fell out, and when she said, ooh, Dex was looking handsome. And then she said she agreed Spencer looks good in a suit. And she loved the hug between Spencer and Cameron because they are friends. Yes, they are friends. And then we have Jane says, I like Esme's acting. She's good at being bad. She's very good at being bad. But you know what? They just pretty much recloned Nell. Nell was just as good being bad. Ugh. And then it's funny, seeing her, you do see the difference in age between Nell and actually Esme. Because, there was that rumor going around that Nell's gonna, Esme's also gonna be Nina's. It's like, no. Nell was definitely much older, just like Willow was older. Nell and Willow are the same age. Esme is definitely Spencer, Jocelyn, and Cameron's age. And then this Chemo Beauty said, Trina's giving mixed signals because at the hospital, she sure was rubbing up and down on Spencer's arm. She sure was. But at the party, she and him, they aren't friends, right? So she goes, she sees nothing but train wreck after train wreck when it comes to Brooklyn and Chase. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Even the decisions that they're making, I don't even like watching that. Rory needs to step up his game. And or could it be his feelings? He doesn't feel threatened by Spencer because he's going into prison. That's probably true. I bet Trina will be there visiting. I don't know that she's going to Pentonville. All I can say is yesterday, wow, Sasha, I know that was just terrible. She and Elizabeth should be roommates at the psych center, Shady Brook, right? And look, let's throw Nina in there too. After today, let's all three of them. They need to be in Shady Brook. And then Lisa says, if Spencer is going to Pentonville, I hope it's vacation time for the actor. So there is, is he, so he'll be released when he comes back. Yeah, I think Nicholas Chavez is on vacation because on Instagram, I think I forget where he's at, but he is out of the country with friends and living it up on Instagram. So yes, he is truly on vacation. And then Jane says she just loved how Trina and Spencer, she loves them together, and she will keep him on the straight and on his toes. Nah, you know what? Truth be told, ladies, I think we've all found out there's some of us the hard way. We cannot be the person in charge of keeping a man, young or old, together. They have to want to keep themselves on the straight and narrow and keep themselves together, because otherwise we start to pull our hair out and we lose sight of ourselves because we're so busy trying to correct another adult and police us. Just that is exhausting. Spencer has to change himself, and he's trying to now do the right thing. It's not for Trina to keep him on the straight and narrow, the narrow. And then Jane says, she's thanking me for the way I sum it all up. Well, thank you, Jane. I like to sum it up with a little humor as well. And then Ron says Lucy should learn how to keep her mouth closed. All she did was trigger Sasha. Yes, she did, without realizing the reporter was in the room just waiting for Sasha to slip up. You know, I didn't know so much that that was a reporter versus anybody with a cell phone, because you do know whenever we're in public and something crazy is about to go down, we all grab our cell phones and start. We're taking we are capturing everything on social media. So, but yeah, that was, Lucy would have done better had she had that meeting at Deception, because at least it wouldn't have just gotten out of hand like that in public. And then Sandy says that Trina and Joss were cute. They sure were cute. Um, she says, like I said last week, Joss and Dex end up in a trash bin. Yes, they sure did. He took his shirt off, and Sasha was, and then Sandy does a little breakdown about Sasha crying and going off, and Jordan hearing about Stella's DNA test. You know, it's kind of making her really figure things out, which it truly is. It truly, truly is. So those were the phenomenal comments on Comment Corner for today. Today's episode had quite a bit of action going on. It truly did. It was really good. I enjoyed today's episode of General Hospital. I will be back tomorrow for Wednesday. We all know Wednesdays kind of taper down, but we shall see. I'll be back Wednesday for Wednesday's daily recap.